We're here to state the facts. Frankly, our view is that this is too serious, deadly serious, to be doing partisan name calling. That's what we're not doing here. We're focused on providing public health data, information to the people of Florida to make sure they understand what steps they should be taking, even if those are not steps taken at the top of the leadership in that state.
All right, the war of words growing. The White House once again calling out Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over his decision to push back against vaccine and mask mandates. Welcome to the second hour of American Agenda, folks. I'm Bob Sellers.
And I'm Heather Childers. Thank you so much for sticking around or just joining us. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki forced to defend the administration's decision to implement more restrictions despite more and more Americans getting vaccinated.
Our White House correspondent, Emerald Robinson, at the White House with a full recap. Emerald, you were in the briefing up until recently, but it seemed like Psaki didn't have time to get to every reporter. This is something you and I have talked about before. She often doesn't have time to get around to you and maybe even some other outlets. Yeah.
Well, I notice when I'm not there, on the days that I'm not there, she actually manages to get around the room a little bit better because I have called her out on Twitter and she's responded to me. And then the next day she'll start calling on more of our colleagues in media that reported on the Hunter Biden laptop scandal and some of the other items that they didn't want reported on, especially during the 2020 campaign. But yeah, today she didn't make it past really the third row. Bob.
The main
also
issue go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, Heather.
I was just wondering what the main issue that everyone else wanted to talk about that she was willing to discuss.
Yeah, so really it's about these further vaccine mandates. And of course, you played that soundbite regarding the ongoing war of words between the governor of Florida. And let's talk about these mandates because there's more coming. Reportedly, the Department of Defense plans to announce another vaccine mandate for active duty service members that might come as early as tomorrow. Now, they'd been waiting for FDA, well, they had said in the past that they were waiting for a full FDA approval, which they say could come in a month. But at this point, based on pressure from the President Biden, and at the offer of a presidential waiver, they're looking at going ahead and implementing that. Now, it's already getting some pushback amongst current and former members of the military that I've spoken with, especially if you look back at the debacle that was the anthrax vaccine. Remember, in the early 2000s, that also had an emergency use authorization. It was mandated by the Pentagon, and then it ended up getting that EUA pulled. And there was a report from the Government Accountability Office that found that of the sample that they looked at that took the vaccine in the military, 85% of them reported some type of reaction, and that was double what was listed in the manual from the vaccine manufacturer at the time of the survey. So there's some real questions that they're going to have to face. And look, they're really struggling about messaging these mandates, as you noted at the top of the show, especially when it comes to now them now saying that they are looking to implement, to force people who travel overseas or international travelers to be vaccinated as well. And in fact, they were asked about that. Jen Psaki was asked about that today, and she admitted that they really haven't gotten their act together on giving the reasoning behind that. Listen.
Given where we are today with the Delta variant, we will plan to maintain existing travel restrictions at this point. However, what our interagency working groups are focused on, and this is, I think, what was reported, is working to develop a plan for a consistent and safe international travel policy. And that will be done through the prism of providing consistent guidance, equitable guidance, digestible guidance. And there's a lot of confusion about what the restrictions are now. And you all have asked a lot of good questions about it because it feels inconsistent, and it is.
Some short-term goals here, but he also wants to develop.
So she admitting it feels inconsistent, and it is. And honestly, a lot of their messaging has been inconsistent through this, and I think they're really, really struggling right now with that, Heather and Bob.
Emerald, quick question. Does the White House think that it benefits them to take on Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida?
Yes. he's clearly already a political target for 2024. As we've talked about before, they're actively looking at the most likely potential contenders for that election cycle and gathering opposition research. And it was notable how Jen Psaki just attacked him sort of out of nowhere on Monday, and now that's continued into an ongoing war of words. At first, DeSantis' office, when I spoke with them, they felt like it was very unfair that they singled them out in that way, and I think now they're seeing it more as a political battle, and they're sparring back because it's benefited the governor as well in publicity, and it highlights his policies to more of the country. And you know, he has some appeal for 2024, a lot of appeal. He's the top two names mentioned, one of the top two.